Hey y'all, this is your girl Kendell Lanice. Welcome to Conversations with Kendell Lanice. I'm so glad you guys tuned in today. I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you will have a good weekend. Today I'm going to actually be on Conversations with Kendell Lanice. I'm going to share a story about me and my uterine fibroids. And I also have my girl here, this shining star right here. This is Audrey Watson. And she was diagnosed with breast cancer, so she's going to share her journey as well. I'm going to start it off, and then she's going to talk about her story, share her story, and share her testimony. Because as you know, Conversations is about sharing stories. It's about trials, it's about testimonies, and it's about triumphs. So that's what the show is about. Because in order to have a testimony, of course, you have to be tested. And in this life, we're always going to be tested with something. So this show is about women's health, but fellas, it's not just a woman's show. Because you have mothers, you have sisters, you have aunts, you have cousins, you have females in your family. So don't think that, oh yeah, they're talking about girly stuff. It will affect you as well. I know I talked about breast cancer before a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to slightly put a spin on it. And like I said, I'm going to talk about fibroids. Okay, so knowing your body and getting regular doctor visits and your family history is a good way to kind of keep on top of things when it comes to your health. Everyone has their own personal struggles with health and wellness. Everyone has their own story today. So like I said, today I'm going to talk about my fibroids. I'm going to try to do my best to educate you on fibroids, uterine fibroids. A lot of women have fibroids. But first, before I even get started, I know she's going to be sitting here, so I want you to feel, you can chime in. Okay. You can say what you want. She's a little nervous, y'all, so I hope you're not going to sit there like a robot, though. No. Okay. Because we talk all the time. We have conversations all the time, and we've had conversations about this. This is Audrey Watson, as I said. So shout out to your family. And before we even get started, it's a special birthday, right?
Yes. Today is my mother's birthday. She's in New York, and I want to wish her a happy birthday and wish her many more.
Happy birthday, Mom. You have a beautiful daughter. So, okay. So, fibroids, where do I even want to start? I jotted some notes down. Uterine fibroids, for those of you that don't know, they typically are non-cancerous growth in the uterus, and they often appear around childbearing years. Typically, women between 30 and 40, that's when you really start noticing fibroids or something wrong with your stomach. I mean, I had my children in my 20s. I started noticing, because I've never had a stomach. Mm-hmm. Never. My stomach was as flat as this table. Right. And even after I had my daughters, my stomach was flat. Mm-hmm. And I started, getting bulges and then getting pap smears, ladies. You have to. And we're going to talk about getting tested and the importance it is to see a doctor. But getting pap smears, so you get your pap smears, ladies, once a year. Go to the gynecologist. If you don't have one, ask for referrals from your primary care doctor. Ask your friends and your family who they go. Go online and research doctors. So, I mean, I know a lot of people don't have insurance, but with pap smears, and we're going to talk about mammograms later, ladies, if you're in Maryland, anywhere, and I'll start with this. Free mammograms, free pap smears, and free breast exams. And I also have free colon cancer screening. So if you don't have insurance and you want to get checked out, hit me up on Facebook or email me or call me if you have my number, and I will make sure you get one. So if you know anybody that's in need of this, because it's very important. So I have some free coupons here, and I have plenty. All right. So I started noticing my stomach, not really noticing anything. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm pushing over 30. I think I'm getting fat. And I remember one time somebody asked me, was I pregnant? Mm-hmm. Girl, my feelings like to fell to the floor. I was so, and a lady was pregnant. So she kept saying, yeah, you know how it is when you're pregnant. And she was talking about, shut up, Diamond, he's over there laughing. And she was like, yeah, because when we drop these babies, and she kept saying, we. It was one of my clients.
And she thought you were
kept
pregnant.
saying, we. And at first I was too embarrassed to even say that I ain't having no baby, my kids are big. And I just went with her until she kept pushing it. I said, I'm not pregnant, my stomach is just fat. And it's caused me to gain weight. For people that don't know me, for people that know me now, this is how they know me. But people that knew me before, I never had a stomach. So anyway, that is one of the symptoms of fibroids. I'm going to read a lot because I want to make sure you guys fully know. But anyway, I went to get my pap smear, and my doctor said, you have fibroids. So at first, I was very familiar with fibroids because probably about a decade or more before, I had given my mother a book about fibroids. And it was called Your Fibroids is a Sister Thing. And the reason why I said it's a sister thing, because it's prominent in African-American women and minority women. So I gave it to my mother. So I was familiar with it. I was familiar with the procedures and what she went through, and her stomach was, getting big. And my mother, the same thing, never had a stomach. So I was familiar with it. So when I heard it, I was like, okay, is this hereditary? What's going on? Is it cancerous? So I wasn't sure. So now listen, the fibroids develop outside of a woman's uterus, her womb. Uterine fibroids develop from normal uterus muscle cells that start growing abnormally. So as the cells grow, they form a benign tumor. So a lot of people think that, oh my God, I got a tumor. Tumor means cancer. Tumor means I'm going to die. And after all the research I've done, I haven't seen anyone die from fibroids, although it is a growth. And when people hear growth or tumor, they automatically, they automatically think cancer, and that's not the case. And I hope y'all not looking at my stomach now like, oh, that's why her stomach's fat, because I try to hold it in. But let me tell you about fibroids. Fibroids do what they want to do. Basically, they are gross. If you ever look it up online, they look absolutely disgusting. They look like
they
babies.
have their own blood supply.
Yes, exactly. They look like babies, and they feed off of your blood supply. And people, they grow. So it's like a woman is pregnant. You have a lot of the same symptoms as pregnancy. Right. So they are in you, and I have several. I have one that's almost the size of my uterus, and then I have their little buddies around it. So I have one that's humongous, and by the way, next week I have to go get another sonogram. So I'll just and I'm moving around here, but
you just was diagnosed.
No, I've had them. Oh, okay. I had a procedure. Okay, I'm going to get that in 1 second. No, I've had them for. And I'm 44, and I've had them in my 30s.
Really?
Yes, and I had a procedure, and I'm going to talk about that also. So no one knows. And I did a lot of research trying to figure out, I asked my doctor, everything, but no one knows what causes fibroids. They have an idea, their growth depends on estrogen, so they know that clearly men can't get fibroids.
Levels.
Yes, female hormones, those are estrogens. And you've had some people say, okay, it might be a vitamin D deficiency. People have been speculating, but nobody really knows. They develop, like I said, they don't develop until after puberty, but usually it's in your 30s is when women start to do that. So I know a lot of women talk to me all the time about having fibroids. It's something very common. And someone that's close to the station, she was just telling me they told her, and she just turned 40. They tend to disappear or shrink after women are in menopause. So, and that's when, of course, with menopause, the estrogen levels go down. Right. So then that's when they tend to shrink and go away. What else do I want to say about fibroids? Okay, so Audrey was asking me, was I just diagnosed, or did my doctor just tell me that I have fibroids? And the answer was no. I had a procedure. I had fibroids probably, when I think about it, I had a procedure in 2014. I think they really they started seeing them maybe about 10 years ago, but I don't know if you know, but sometimes they're small. They're really nothing to worry about. Right. If they're not bothering you, they say don't bother them. Right. No big deal. Right. But then gradually they grow. And my monthly cycle was horrendous. I know Diamond's going to probably want to close his ears with this. Horrendous. It was like a murder scene. To the point where I never forget, I went to see Raisin in the Sun on Broadway with my girl Sanaa Lathan. I did. That's my girl. People say I look like her, but I just like her anyway, so I think that's funny. But I went and I drove to New York, and I can't tell you how many times I had to stop. And I never forget, I had a Jeep Cherokee with cloth seats. I had to, it was just a mess without even being graphic. So that's when I really started to see, okay, something is going. Now they're shaking, because before I had them, they weren't doing things. I didn't really notice. Right. And I just remember I had to stop several times. Like I could not, and then eventually it got worse to the point like I couldn't even drive home to Jersey without stopping like 6 times. Wow. I couldn't. At work, they had to get me a leather seat because I had a cloth seat, and it was just a mess. So I and then I never forget, I went to a Ravens game, and I don't know if you know about the Ravens game. Go shout out to Baltimore Ravens, but the tickets are expensive. So when I tell you I was in the last row. Like, you can see the highway over, like, at the back, the fence, and then you can look over and see the highway. Right. So I said all that to say, I was walking up those stairs, and I was like, dang, I'm out of shape. Okay, this is Kendell, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm still not really knowing. I'm like, Kendell, this is ridiculous. Like, you need to work out. What's going on? So, and then I'm holding my stomach. I'm like, oh, I'm just tired. I thought I was tired. So fast forward, I go to the doctor. I can't remember how long in between that. I think my next visit, so it wasn't right away. And they check my blood like they do anemic. I was so anemic. Now, this is the thing. A sign for anemia is you love ice. Like my girlfriend Sonia laughs because back then I can tell you who had the best ice, what drive-through I was going through. I would go to Sonic because they had the bomb ice because it was the little pieces. Crushed ice. Like I was addicted to ice. So that's really true. Sign. It's very true. And so all you people, ladies out there that you love ice, you got to have ice. I'm not even talking about on top of a drink. I'm just like straight up ice. And that's how I was. So I heard about it. I knew that I was always slightly anemic. So that wasn't really alarming either. But I went to get blood work, and my doctor called me with the results, and she said, Kendell, she was freaking out. She said, are you home? Are you work? I said, no, I'm out. And she said, well, do you go to work every day? I said, every day, because I've been in my job 7 years, y'all. I never called out, ever. Wow. Ever. And that's because I love, what I do. You know I love what I do. Yes. So she said, well, your blood, and I wish I could think of the number. I was trying to think. But let's say it's supposed to be at 100. Mine was like at 2. And she told me, how are you walking up the stairs? How are you? And then I started thinking about at that Ravens game where literally I thought I was going to die. I was sitting down to the point people were like, are you all right, miss? I was so, and I kind of, so anyway, so she told me that my blood was so low. She said if I wasn't as young as I was, and at that point, I was about, I think, 39, I think, 38, 39. And she said if I wasn't as young as I was, I would need a blood transfusion. She said, so that's how much blood I was losing. So she said at this point, you need to do something, because I told you how my monthly cycle was. I was losing so much blood. I was losing blood, and my stomach was like, I was pregnant. So I'm walking around here thinking I'm cute, and my stomach is big. People thinking I'm pregnant. So then I was kind of scared of surgery. People were talking about, oh, okay, hysterectomy. But I didn't want a hysterectomy because if you know about a hysterectomy, that will drive you into menopause. And I wasn't trying to be in menopause in my 30s. Right. Because hysterectomy, taking out all your womanly parts, that will push you into menopause. So I said, I don't want that. So I was looking at different things. And I remember one time and my doctor was giving me different suggestions, but I remember on the radio I heard something about UFE, uterine fibroid embolization. So I heard about UFE, and I called the place, and I never forget, they didn't take my insurance and all that, so I'm like, okay, so I wonder if insurance is being taken for this. Is this something I have to do? So anyway, I went to a seminar. I went to a seminar at one of the hotels, and it was all about fibroids, and it was about UFE. So when I went to the seminar, I started hearing all these stories of all these ladies that suffered fibroids. So sometimes it's painful to have sex. Your period is horrible. You have shooting pains. Your stomach just continues to grow, and it will not. Some people were dizzy. Some people, their blood was extremely low. Some people had to get transfusions. So I was hearing all of these. So it kind of made me feel better that I was in a room full of everyone that had these. Exactly. Right. So my only concern, I didn't have any of the above. I didn't feel pain. I didn't have trouble, doing anything or anything like that. But my period was a lifestyle problem. Like, I could not live a normal life. And that sounds stupid. I mean, you sitting over here, you suffer from cancer, so you probably like, but for me, it was because I should have had stock in Always pads. Like, I really should have. I would have to wear 3 to 4 every time, and I would have to change them like every half hour. I would carry underwear with me, and I would carry an extra pair of pants or skirt or whatever with me
just
everywhere. Yes, and it had become, that was just my lifestyle.
Your routine.
I knew that if I'm in the car more than 15 minutes, then I'm going to have to, So it had become, so I started thinking about that. So I looked at the UFE. I'd heard about it there. I was like, okay, that's something I can do. So the UFE is a procedure where it's invasive. It's not major surgery. They don't have to really cut you. The recovery time is good. What they do is they cut off the blood supply. So they cut off the blood supply, so eventually the fibroids will shrink because they feed
They'll
off
stop
of
growing.
Exactly, they will stop growing and eventually shrink. So September 30th, 2010, I'll never forget that. I had it at the University of Maryland. Typically, they say, so it's a procedure done by a radiologist. It blocks blood in the uterus, and it's also called uterine artery embolization. So at that point, they say that the recovery time is about a day, and you go home, and then you can go back to work in a week or 2.
Right.
Well, when I had it, I had to end up staying in the hospital a couple of days. So when you hear that, if you're thinking about getting that, or if you want to research that, no, it's different for everyone.
Everybody's situation
exactly.
is different.
So I was out of work for about 2 weeks. A small cut, you can't see it. They went in and severed the blood supply.
Right.
So eventually they would shrink. So the doctor kept saying, girl, you're going to look like Beyonce when you get done. They kept saying that. Or your stomach is going to be flat, because they said that was like my stomach. And I have like 5 or 6. And that's what they were feeling. After I had my sonogram, I really know again. So that was 2010. So now 2015, they're back. So
so they just started the blood supply,
yes,
speeding off the blood supply
exactly, because they told me that. So they did tell me it's a possibility they can grow back with everyone. Everyone is different. They don't know at what point they will start to grow back. So they've been starting to grow back. So the UFE recovery in the hospital, 2 days, little bit of pain, recovery, and you can't, all this the same things if you get a procedure done, and just watch yourself down there. But anyway, 2015, they came back. So now I just went to the doctor. I have a sonogram set to see what to do next. But as I was doing research and just trying to figure out a lot of stuff, even with cancer and even with fibroid, diet is so key, and exercise. So I just wanted to say before and I'm trying to speed up because I really want to give a lot of my time to you on Conversations because you are my guest, but I just wanted to, like I said earlier, do something different. Okay. So real quick, I want to give you foods to avoid. So if you have fibroids, or if you know someone that has been talking about fibroids, or fellas, your wives, your girlfriends, if they were just told that they have uterine fibroids, they say stay away from dairy, And I know I've seen that with cancer too. Stay away from a lot of dairy, artificial sweeteners like that Sweet and Low, Equal, all of that stuff. That causes cancer to people. That's one of the things people say. Have you ever heard that? Yeah,
sugar, period.
Yeah, sugar, period. White sugar.
White sugar.
White sugar. Anything white is not good for you. White rice, white bread, exactly. White flour, white sugar. All of that it's not good for you. Fast food. That's not good for you on so many levels, but it contributes to fibroids. Processed food. And I would like to think that I've eaten pretty good. I've never eaten pork in my life.
Really?
Never. And I was raised that way. And I stopped eating red meat years ago. And then sometimes I'll eat, like, you know, every so often. But the reason why I'm talking about red meat is because the fibroids love red meat because of the blood in red meat. It's almost like a baby. It steals your energy. It steals everything that you have, like a baby. Interesting. Very interesting. And I remember my doctor said they're like little aliens invading your body. So think about something live in your stomach and it's not a baby. It's kind of disgusting.
It is.
When you think about it. And then, you know, everybody Googles and YouTubes their procedures and all that. I didn't do all that. That's a little much for me.
Right.
But, so fast food, and also processed food. Anything in a box, anything in a carton, anything that takes 30 seconds or 5 minutes to heat up.
You have to microwave.
Yes, that's not good for you. Anything that you have to microwave. And what I found out for researching this show, and I didn't even know that, and my mom had told me this before, but anything covered in plastic. Like they say plastic, whatever the chemicals that are in plastic, it seeps into your food. Wow. And they say that with cancer. So I was like, and then soy products. So, I mean, I do eat some, I like, you know, certain things with soy in it and then with milk. So I was kind of confused because they say no dairy, but then no soy. So I guess, but then you need these things. So, but like I said, do your own research. But the reason why they say a lot of soy is because soy contains loads of estrogens and hormones that feed uterine fibroids. So they said, and then if you're looking to get, like, I know a lot of vegetarians out there, there's soy this, soy that, but mushroom they say kind of substitute it with because it's meaty. But any hormone-induced animal products, think about it. If they are injecting the chickens and the animals, you're getting that and what you already have. Yep. So it's too much. So a lot of people will eat halal meat. I know a lot of Muslims will eat halal meat, and Jewish people eat kosher food. And it takes out a lot of the way they kill them and what they use to preserve them. It's natural. It's not the injections and everything. And people don't realize how you eat and how you take care of yourself and take care of your body. And exercise and all that, it really plays a big part. And I was somebody that thought that I ate well, but then it's also hereditary too. So I look at I found out my grandmother had them, my mother had them, I have them, and they say if your mother has them, and potentially my daughters.
Yeah, I didn't know they may have hereditary fibroids.
Yeah. They said if your mother has them, so they didn't go back like a lot of the other diseases.
Right.
If you know, if it's in your bloodline or you know, but they said if your mother has it, then you will most likely
my mom
have
had fibroids too.
Did you have them?
I've had them.
You had fibroids too? Did you have any procedures or anything?
Yeah.
You did? What did?
I had a partial.
Partial? Did it kick you into menopause? It did, because it was partial. They left the ovaries. Okay. So yeah, and the ovaries, if you have your ovaries removed, how long was that recovery?
Well, back then, because it was a long time ago, it was like a good 4 to 6 weeks.
And that's what I know. I have a good girlfriend of mine. She had a hysterectomy too, and she was out for like 2 months. It was a nightmare. Yeah, and then the scarring and all of that. So that's what I was afraid of, because my girlfriend was like, girl, I had a hysterectomy, just get that. She was in her 30s.
But it's so different now.
Right, exactly.
You know, because that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And it is different now. There are ways that you can avoid major surgeries now. And a lot of people and a lot of doctors will just say, just get the hysterectomy so you don't have to deal with it. But I wasn't trying to have any more babies. But I wasn't trying to let my parts go if I didn't need to, and then have surgery, and I just had a heavy flow. So anyway, like I said, it became bad. So I was like, okay, I'm losing blood. My doctor is telling me I need to have have a blood transfusion, okay, it's time to do something. So
are they recommending now that you?
Well, I have to get the sonogram
right
next week to find out how many exactly. I mean, she was like, when she was doing my exam, she was like, here, 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 here. I was like, all right, hold up, lady. And she said, wait a minute. She used both hands with my uterus, and she said, oh, this is a big one. I was like, I know. And it's not something that I can suck in. No, it is what it is. Yeah. You know,
it's like a baby.
And people always be like, oh, Kendell, you gained weight. And that's why I don't never ask if somebody is pregnant.
You never know.
Never mention somebody's weight, because you never know. Like, I can't help this.
It happened to a girlfriend of mine, and hers was so big that it was shifting her organs.
Yeah.
It was all up in her chest.
Yeah.
It was so big.
Yeah, and that's how they were. And that's to the point where mine were just growing and growing. And if I just continued to let them stay, they could potentially, like you said, move your organs around. That, I mean, that's real. So I end up getting that. But so I started looking into, okay, how am I eating and all of that, and the red meat. But the growth hormones that can cause fibroids go quickly, and they grow largely when we ingest the same hormones as some of the animals, as I was talking about. But also, people, I know everybody likes to turn up and get their drink on and all of that. But if you have fibroids, they say stay away from alcohol. And I know people love coffee and chocolate.
I'm guilty.
Right. They say that is a trigger too. Alcohol, caffeine. Exactly, because the liver processes estrogen so that the body can eliminate it, and excess alcohol and caffeine can strain the organs and compromise its effectiveness. So what your body is automatically doing, the coffee, and the alcohol can prohibit that. And then also saturated fats. If you don't know what saturated fat is, that good homemade macaroni and cheese, the pizza, and all of that, the things that are good. Like, right, because to me, if I'm going to have macaroni and cheese, I don't want it substituted with, fake cheese.
You want the real thing.
For real. Right. So, and then pizza, the same thing. And they say full fat cheese. So what I have been trying to do, because I mean, you like pizza?
It's
not really.
And New York pizza.
Yes, the slice that falls off the plate.
Yes.
Oh, I know what time it is with that, and that is true, because certain places you go, it ain't even worth the growth of the fibroid or the fat, because you wasted it. Right. But I tried making pizza. I'm trying to be. I'm like, all right, you know how every year people get with the health. All right, this time I'm gonna make sure I eat this. I'm gonna watch this. I did the 10-day green smoothie diet, all of this stuff. Right. But pizza, you can, make your own recipes. I got some flatbread, some tomato sauce, and made up, some low-fat mozzarella cheese. And it was all right. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was very, very thin if you just want that taste. Right. But there are other substitutions. Okay, so real quick, good foods that may shrink the fibroids. So you can try all of these things, and the things that you can do naturally before you start getting procedures and everything, but also, of course, go to your doctor to see how far gone they are. But good foods to eat that may just automatically shrink them are fruits and vegetables, and that's with cancer too. I know, and I talk to a lot of people with cancer. Broccoli, cabbage, kale, green leafy vegetables, beans, lentils, unprocessed grains. If you don't know what that is, like oats, brown rice, quinoa, which I don't like. Have you ever had that?
What is that?
It's quinoa, but it's spelled Quinoa. Like if you look where the rice is and all of that, and a lot of people from other countries, and a lot of people that suffer from cancer or have cancer, or cancer survivors, fibroids, they're allergic to gluten and all of that. A lot of them use that, and people always say, "Oh yeah, it tastes like rice or oats," but to me, it's nasty. Some people love it. Yeah. And also what I found out is flax seeds. And when I had, you take flax seeds?
I actually was looking at them the other day. I was going to buy some, because you can put it in your food, you can put it in your drinks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what, when I did the 10-day green smoothie diet, every smoothie, it had flax seeds in there. And I was like, okay, this is all right, because the flax seeds, because it's omega-3, and it guards you against inflammation and tumor growths that help get rid of your body's excess estrogen. And I looked at that, and that was for cancer as well as fibroids. And I don't know if you like edamame and potted soybeans, they say. But what I didn't know, do you like pineapples? Okay, what I didn't know that pineapples had a natural inflammatory, I guess, chemical
ingredient.
Or juices. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And that's pineapple. So if you're swollen or if you have anything in you, gross or anything,
Really?
they say eat a lot of pineapples. And I didn't know that, but that is like a natural. Yep, and that's something natural. And then green tea. I like green tea. I'm a tea person. So, but they say green tea because it counteracts
and has antioxidants.
Exactly, antioxidants, and it counteracts the estrogen.
Oh, okay.
So, and then food's high in iodine. One of my mother's friends specializes in health and fibroids and all that. She was talking about iodine-rich foods. So I went to go look it up, and that's tuna, shrimp,
salmon.
Exactly. Navy beans, boiled eggs. So I'm coming to wrap here. But vitamin E-rich foods, almonds, wheat germs, and stuff like that. And also seasonings, because they said, I don't know if you cook with fresh, like rosemary and stuff like that, but they said rosemary. Like sprinkled on your food.
Oh, really?
And that will help also. So they're both natural anti-inflammatory. So guys, if you're, well, not guys, but women, if you're suffering from fibroids or you don't know why your monthly period is so heavy, or you feel, because it's all about, with anything, is really knowing your body and when something's out of whack. Exactly. Because a lot of people don't pay attention to signs.
And people like to self-diagnose.
Exactly. And now to me with the internet, it's ridiculous.
They go online.
It's ridiculous with the internet, because the internet will think you're dying like in 5 minutes.
Well, my doctor told me don't even go in there.
Yeah, yeah. But if you're ladies, it's not about like me. I thought I was just out of shape because I hadn't been to the gym in a very long time. I thought that, okay, like everybody says, when you get older, you're going to have, your body's going to be different. Right. So I was just thinking that. And like I said, with fibroids, I wasn't in pain or anything. So, but when I started doing that, so I said I needed to do something about it. So now, I mean, I'll keep you guys posted on what's next and what I'm going to do next. But like I said, they grew back. So just really know your body. If something is wrong, if you think something is wrong, even if you're not sure, just go to your doctor just to see. Because I would rather go to the doctor and they tell me it's nothing, than not go to the doctor
and something's going
and
on.
Something is going exactly. So just go see. If something is out of whack with your body, just go to the doctor, ask them, what's going on. So enough about my little aliens in my body. And y'all, when you see my stomach fat, I try to hold it in under the table, but it's fibroids. I feel like it. I feel a lot of weight on me. Right. You know how when people say, "Oh, you don't look fat," but I know my body.
Yeah, you can feel it.
And I can feel it. And then, when you wear clothes, I got this gut, and people thinking I'm pregnant, or Kendell, and she done got fat, or she done slipped up. Right. And so when y'all see my fat stomach, don't automatically assume I'm pregnant, or, oh yeah, she went to Maryland, she gaining all that weight and all of that stuff. So you never know what's going on with somebody. Okay, so now, Audrey, I've known you for maybe about, has it been like 6 years?
6 years.
6 years.
Yes.
And when I first met you, you were telling me a beautiful story about your dad. And your dad was like everything to you. And I just remember, and we kind of connected with that, and you shared a lot. So I thank you for that, because you shared a piece of you. And like somehow you feel a connection when somebody shares like a big piece of them. So
everybody knows about my dad.
Because you love him.
Yeah.
You love him, So, okay, so then you were telling me about that. So we kind of kept in touch. She came to my office one day. That's how we met. And we kind of kept in touch somewhat. And I remember you telling me over the phone that you got a mammogram.
Yep, an
annual mammogram. Right. And they, what happened after you got the mammogram?
I got a call back, and they said they saw something on the mammogram, and they needed for me to come back and do a sonogram.
Okay.
So I think it was like maybe 2 weeks later, I went back, had the sonogram.
So you had the mammogram, and then they asked you to do a sonogram.
Do a sonogram.
Okay.
Right. And, I guess they could see something But what was strange, I didn't have a lump.
Okay.
So the doctor was looking for a lump in the breast.
Okay.
But there was no lump, and she kept saying, "Oh, you have no lump. You know, it's strange."
Okay.
So they followed up with a biopsy, basically, and I think I had to wait like 3-4 days.
So tell the people what a biopsy is, just in case they don't know.
Basically, a biopsy is when they actually take some tissue out of the breast, send it to the lab to confirm, you know, if you have a small mass or a tumor, to confirm if it's cancerous or not.
Okay.
But basically, my doctor, she had already told me it was cancerous, based on
based on the report that you got from, where'd you go, like advanced radiology or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, so
they compared the mammogram from the year before. They compare the two.
Okay, so you normally get annual mammograms. You're someone that faithfully gets mammograms. So after
that time I played around because I kept rescheduling. I rescheduled the appointment like 3 times because I was like, had something to do.
So it was after a year. So it was,
no, it wasn't after a year. Maybe like a month later.
Oh, okay.
Like a month. Yeah.
Okay. So you were somebody that, but even though you scheduled it out a little bit, you normally got mammograms.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you knew that was something that you have to do. Can you tell the people the importance of a mammogram?
You know, I tell everyone, you know, whether you have insurance or not, because there's plenty of programs out there where you can get free mammograms. When it comes to breast cancer, time is of the essence because, you know, it could start out really small and it spreads very quickly. The cells just multiply. And if it gets to the point where it gets in your lymph nodes, it spreads to the rest of your body. And it could just turn into a nightmare. And, you know, a lot of women, you know, they might feel a lump or, you know, they're afraid to go get a mammogram. If you have a lump, you need to go to the doctor immediately, you know. Everyone is scared of surgery, but it'll save your life.
Right, and mammograms, a fact about mammograms, it has helped reduce breast cancer mortality in the U.S. by nearly a third since 1990.
Wow.
So, and that's huge.
That's very huge.
There was some facts about mammograms, and I was like, wow. But go ahead. So when you got your mammogram,
so I did the biopsy, and again, my doctor had already said that it was breast cancer, but of course I was in denial, and I felt like, oh, you know, they're making a mistake. So I really didn't believe it.
Right.
So once I got the call, when they got the results back from the biopsy, that's when they confirmed that it was positive, and I had it was stage 1, and it was a very small tumor. I don't remember how big it was. But again, you know, I had to go in for a consultation. I went to GBMC, and you know, I don't remember my doctor's name, but he was very informative. You know,
this was after you had the mammogram, after your doctor sent you.
After they had confirmed that it was positive, because they move very quickly. It's like
because they don't know, they don't want it to spread or anything.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna go away to my family reunion. I can schedule the surgery when I come back, and they were like, oh no, we need to get you scheduled right away.
And I happened to talk to Audrey the day that she found out, and it wasn't planned. I think you had called or I called you. I can't remember how it went down, but I remember you telling me that they found something.
Right.
And then I remember, you know, talking to you about that, and my heart just sank. I mean, a lot of people think it is a death sentence when you say cancer.
But it's not.
It's not, right. And when you said that, like, my heart just sank. And I remember you came into the office and we were talking about it, and I think you were on your way to get your because you had to get more than one mammogram, right? Or you had to go back or something.
Right. I remember a second mammogram.
Yeah. So,
but it's not a death sentence, and that's another thing that people think because you're diagnosed with cancer, it's a death sentence. I mean, technology, you know, medicine, things have changed, and, you know, it's a lot of things available to prevent, you know, death. But people are so scared, they procrastinate, and they don't get tested, they don't get their mammograms.
So what would you tell other ladies about the importance of mammograms? What would you tell them if someone came to you and didn't even know that you know, had breast cancer?
Right.
And somebody was just at work. You overhear somebody saying, oh, my doctor said I need to get a mammogram. I'm not trying to get that because I heard the radiation kills people and that will give you cancer? Because I've heard people say that.
And there's so many rumors. I mean, the best thing to do is go take your mammogram and speak to a doctor. You know, don't go on the internet. Don't ask people. Speak to the professionals.
So I'm the lady, I'm like, I don't want to get a mammogram. Why do I have to get a mammogram? I don't feel my breasts are fine.
Right.
My man says my breasts are fine. He didn't see nothing.
Right.
So what would you tell me?
I would tell you to still go get your mammogram.
Why?
You know, because that's something after 40. It's important that you get a yearly mammogram to make sure everything is okay. Because you could be fine 1 year and then 6 months later to a year, something could appear.
Right.
And it's important to know that everything is okay.
Right.
And like I said, time is of the essence because it spreads very fast.
And I want to say this fact about mammograms. For every 1,000 women who had a screening, 100 were recalled, 20 were recommended for a needle biopsy, and 5 were diagnosed. Wow. So those numbers are not even that large when you look on this, out of 1,000 women, only 5 diagnosed.
Right.
But those are women that had their mammograms, ladies. Yep. So somebody can be walking around with cancer if they have not had a mammogram in, like, let's just say 3 years or
I know people that do that.
So I know you were telling me about a girlfriend without saying her names or anything. Can you share that story with the listeners?
Well, she's a friend of my daughter's.
Okay.
She had pain in her stomach, you know, and I think she went to the doctor and they said they had saw something. And they wanted her to come back for future tests, but she didn't do it. And I think it was
the
like
doctor saw something that wasn't right in her breast.
No, this is her stomach.
Okay, her stomach.
Yeah, she's a young girl, and I guess she went back like 6 months later. Well, she actually fainted and passed out. And when she finally went, it was like stage 3, stage 4.
So how long did she wait before?
6 months.
Okay, so that she goes to the doctor. The doctor says there's something going on with your stomach. I feel something, or I know something. You need to come back immediately.
Right.
And she didn't take it seriously.
No. And it spread, and it actually, I don't remember what part of her stomach, but cancer ate some of her organs. They were gone when they went in.
And you said that something traumatic happened when that. She's
taking treatment and stuff like that. She's still here with us.
But she can't have
children because of that.
That's crazy. So if she had have taken her, see, that's why it's so important, y'all, to take your doctor's advice. I know your doctor is not God. I know, if it's God's will, this will happen and that happen. I totally get that. I'm a firm believer. But if your doctor sees something, you should truly, seriously take it seriously.
Definitely.
You really should, because even, like I said, even if it's nothing, it's better to be
safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it spread. So at first, they might have just saw something little, and then it spread to stage 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3, stage 3. And she's young. She's in her 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's another myth. So I'm glad you said that. She's in her 20s.
Yeah, it's a myth that, only old people think only old people get cancer. No, now people of all ages are getting breast cancer. Young girls, I mean, it doesn't discriminate.
So what was going through your mind after you really came to, because I know you said you were kind of like ignoring it, like, I don't have cancer.
Right.
So when you really sat down with yourself and was like, wow, I really have.
It's like having an out-of-body experience. It's like you can't believe it because you feel fine. And it's like you have to prepare yourself for what's coming, because really the doctors say, well, this, and that. But really it's the unknown. You don't know. You just don't know. You're afraid. And, thank God for good health insurance. Everything was, I went to GBMC, I had a lumpectomy, and then after the lumpectomy, 6 weeks later, you do your radiation.
So that's so funny that you're saying this. And I know you said you didn't get a chance to see the other show with the other lady that had breast cancer. But I'm so glad that you said that, because she said that she was going to get the lumpectomy.
Right.
And on the table, she changed her mind and said she wanted a mastectomy.
Oh, she wanted them to take it.
She wanted to just take it. So, and I was asking her about radiation, and she had never gone through that because they took it. So you went through radiation,
right? Because I was stage 1,
and she was 0.
And she was 0.
And did you ever heard of that? Because
no,
I've never heard.
I've never heard of 0.
Exactly.
And she had her breast removed.
Yes. because she said she was scared that it may spread, so she said just take it. And I know my grandmother did that too, but a lot of people do what you did. So why was that your decision to take that?
From the consultation, that was my choice to do the lumpectomy.
Okay.
And my doctor advised me, you can do the lumpectomy and do the radiation. I didn't have to do any chemo because the cancer did not get to the lymph nodes.
Okay, and so that's something that can, I guess, be cleared up, because I thought, and I know a lot of people think radiation and chemo is the same thing. So it's not.
Two different procedures.
So what is radiation?
Radiation is actually where they angle, it's a big machine, and they angle the machine to the area where the cancer was, and the radiation shoots directly into your skin, but it burns your skin. Whatever's, after you have the lumpectomy, sometimes, it could be things a little bit they didn't get. Whatever they didn't get, the radiation kills.
Okay.
Now, chemo is actually when they go in intravenously.
Gotcha.
And, you sit for 3 or 4 hours.
Yes, I've seen
and
pictures
the
of
chemo
that.
is a lot worse because there's more side effects. You lose your hair and you can't eat. It's just so many different.
So you didn't lose your hair or anything?
No. Radiation.
Did you have any body changes?
Well, the breast was very swollen.
Okay.
It actually burned my breast. My breast got dark.
Wow.
And the skin, the skin, some of my skin had peeled off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's quick. It's like maybe less than 10 minutes, but it's so strong.
So you only go through one radiation treatment, or how you have to go through
6 weeks every day. For 6 weeks.
I remember that because that's
6
when you
weeks,
were in
and it was in the summertime. Yes,
I remember that because I remember. Yeah. So every single day,
at the same time, every day.
So you
can't miss an appointment.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was a lot.
That's, and you have a good job.
Yep.
And was your job understanding of that?
I was out on disability. I was out from May to September because it was too much.
So after you wrapped your head around you have cancer, immediately did you start? I mean, of course, listening to your doctors and taking action.
Oh yeah, everything was fast. So, I was diagnosed in April. I had the surgery in May.
What year? What year?
2012.
Okay.
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And, once I had the lumpectomy, the healing process is they want you to wait 6 weeks.
Okay.
For your stitches to heal, and in the process they take out lymph nodes also. So
you had the radiation and all of that, in that process they took out the lymph nodes.
Right.
Okay.
And
because they want people why? Do you know?
Because they want to make sure there's no cancer in your lymph nodes.
Okay.
If there is cancer in the lymph nodes, then more than likely you have to do chemo and radiation.
Okay. Okay. So
mine were clear.
Okay. Good.
Mine were clear. So I just had to do the radiation, and I started the radiation. I think it was in the beginning of August, and I did it for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was the end of July. And I did it for 6 weeks straight. And you cannot miss. If you miss a day, you have to make that day up.
So how was so on your body, I get how it was.
You're tired. You're irritable. I mean, it really drains you, mentally, physically. It makes you very irritable. And the summertime is the worst because it's already hot. And
how long is the procedure? Like when you
it's
go
quick.
Get the
I mean, probably once you get on the table and they line everything up, it's quick. It's like maybe 10 minutes. That quick.
But it's every day.
Every day.
So mentally, okay, so
you have to mentally prepare yourself for that.
So what
some days you don't want to go.
That's what I was going to ask.
It was days when I was so mad I didn't want to go, but a lot of my girls would take me. I had friends that would drive me because I was so tired.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you have a lot of support during this time?
I had a lot of support, and that's very important.
And that's what I wanted to hear, because so many people think, oh, I got this. I'm Superwoman. I can go through this alone. But having your friends and family,
is very important.
The other lady was saying she was just trying to go through it alone.
No, you can't. It's
family.
No,
her name
it's
is
a lot.
Yvette. I don't mean to say other lady, but
right.
So when you were dealing with this mentally, I'm just trying to think of what that mental space is, not having to go get the radiation, not it cramping your lifestyle in a sense, because you said you were on your way to a family reunion, you thought that you could just continue life as normal.
Right.
So when that had to slow you down and you really started thinking about the reality of it, what is that like mentally?
It's just a shock to your system because you're used to doing your daily routine, and I'm one to go. I'm not one to sit still.
Me neither.
And this is the time where you have to sit still. You have to rest.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to do what you have to listen to your doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I know you have 3 daughters.
Yes.
And a granddaughter.
Yes.
So what would you tell them about just health and mammograms? Because I'm sure they were all there.
Oh, yeah, they were all there. And I actually did a test. It's called the BRCA. I had that test done.
What is that?
It's basically a gene. They test your genes to see if the cancer is in your genes, a BRCA.
My daughter's over there saying she heard of that.
And basically, it tests your genes to see if you could actually get, because sometimes if you have breast cancer, you can get uterine cancer.
And I've heard that, yeah.
So basically, my numbers were low. So I was in the clear because if they were high, I would have had to get my ovaries taken out.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
So you had already...
Because you're at risk for ovarian cancer.
Okay, so now earlier you said you had a partial hysterectomy.
Yes.
So if you had a full hysterectomy at that time, then they wouldn't have had to do the test.
No, but they would still want to find out if it's in your genes because then you have to worry about your children.
Okay.
Right.
And I always tell people, even if she has daughters and a granddaughter, but even people with sons, because men get breast cancer. Yeah. And I know I talked about that before, but a lot of people think that it's a woman's disease.
No.
Now, prostate, ladies, we can't get prostate cancer because we don't have a prostate. Right. But men have breast tissue, and some men have big breast tissue.
Yeah, and
so
it's possible.
It's a lot, right? Yep. So it is. So with your daughters, were you always consistent with regular doctor's appointments and all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Because, and I think that's important even to teach your kids as you do that, because I know some people, they don't go to the doctors on a regular basis.
They don't get physicals.
No, and then their kids don't. I talked to a lady that she hadn't gone to the dentist in 9 years. So imagine that.
No, I can't.
Because she was scared.
Yeah.
So I know you said, no, I can't. No. I imagine the yuck mouth anyway. But so I think it's good to teach our children about health and about eating
being proactive.
And you're and I know how you handle business, so I already know how you did. Like, you're on it, and you are like into research. If I don't know nothing about you, I know that.
Oh yeah,
personally, because you'll get the answer and you'll get it done. You don't wait. That I do. No, that I do.
Don't procrastinate. I try not to.
And with something like that, even if you are a procrastinator, because I know it's a lot of procrastinators out there. I know people say,
and people do it at a fair too.
Right, exactly. They do. And I think it's just so important just to go to the doctor. I can't stress that enough. Yeah. Go to the doctor, get checked out, take your doctor's advice, and have your yearly mammograms, your yearly pap smears, your yearly physicals, the blood, the whole 9 yards, because you need to know what's wrong with you. So I'm talking to one person out there, and she knows who she is. You've been holding on to that blood work, that paper for months, I'll just say, and you have not gone to get that blood work. So you know who you are, and I'm gonna let you make sure you see this show to go get your blood work done. Blood work takes 5 seconds to get it done. So make sure you get that, because you really do seriously want to know what's going on.
It gives you a snapshot
of what's going on with your body. So so with all that you've been through with cancer and so, well, I will say, and I didn't say this at all, but you are a breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
So
3 years.
Congratulations. Seriously, that's huge, because some people don't make it.
No, they
3
don't.
years.
No.
And I know with breast cancer, how often do you have to go to the doctor to make sure you're good?
I was going every 6 months, but now it's once a year.
So do you go every 6 months, like in the beginning?
In the beginning, every 6 months, like the first 2 years.
To make sure you're good.
Yep.
And then
they change it to once a year.
Right. Okay, so that's going, man. I dropped something right here. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So you go once a year to see. Sorry, y'all. Oh, thank you. So you go once a year just to make sure that it hasn't grown back.
Right, that nothing has come back.
Okay, and so far,
so good.
So good. So
Yeah.
that really does my heart good. Like, that makes me happy, and I know it makes you happy.
Yeah, I'm always nervous when it's time, because you just hear stories coming back.
And people don't realize, like, I went to a school with a girl, and I know people in their 20s that have breast cancer or any type of cancer.
Yep.
And it's important for me, ladies, to really let you know that it doesn't matter how old you are.
Nope.
Like, it is a possibility. And I know when you're younger, you think that, oh, I'm invincible, I can't get this,
that's what
I
young
can't
people
get that.
think, right.
They think that they're never going to get old. And I say, if you're blessed and lucky enough, you will get old.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with how you treat your body when you're young, when you're older.
Right.
So I know we're talking about, and I want to say this again because to me it's very important. So if you are in Maryland and you are in need of a mammogram, you're in need of a breast exam, a Pap test, the eligibility is simple. Maryland residents, you have to live in Maryland. Women ages 40 to 64, no insurance for these services. You do not exceed the income guidelines. So with one of the programs, there are income guidelines, but with another program that I have, there are no income guidelines because I don't think income should have anything to do with health.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So mammograms at a particular radiation, and you must have an exam at your doctor's beforehand. So, but I know just to get this. So if you can just, in a lot of doctors' offices or even a clinic, you can get checked out or just have a physical for free.
Right.
So
take advantage of it.
Yes. And then colon cancer, I want to talk about that. Typically, they say that you should get a colonoscopy and all of that after 50. They say after 50. Under 50, if you have a family history of it, she has it. So yeah, you have to get it. And no insurances for these services also. So this is anywhere in Baltimore. These are little certificates, but I have plenty of those. So you can hit me up to get that. But is there anything, what are your final words you want to tell people? And what about your story would you like to stick with somebody out there?
Just be proactive, get your mammograms. If you feel anything out of the ordinary in your breasts, just get it checked out. It's a scary thing, but I mean, it's something that has to be done because it could save your life.
And it's very important because if she didn't get a mammogram, or the thousands of women, millions of women that don't get mammograms, and they think that they're invincible. Exactly. Because they caught Audrey's, like she said, stage 1. And there are typically out here there are 4 stages, 1 through 4. Right. But then the lady told, Yvette was talking about 0. So 0 and 1, even 2, you can be saved. But if you don't go to the doctor, you don't know. And I know a lot of people like to be ignorant. Well, if I don't know, it can't hurt me. And that's not the case. If you don't know, it will kill you. And that's real. So you really have to get checked out. All right, so when you look at your future, what does it look like to you?
I mean, it looks bright. I'm blessed.
Okay, so you want to, I know your daughters are watching. You want to say hi
to
girls. See your beautiful mom here. And I'm sure because when you're a woman and you're a mother, and I always talk about motherhood, but when you're a mother, when they told you had cancer, did you immediately think about your kids?
Of course.
And that's the first thing that you think
because you don't want to leave your kids,
right.
You worry about, you want to be here for them.
Right, and it's important. And ladies, you have to be here because a lot of women, I will say this, and you can probably attest to this, a lot of women, as women, we take care of everybody else. But when it comes to us, we put ourselves on the back burner. Oh, I'll do it later, because I never forget my mom. I was having my daughter real quick. She was, my 16-year-old was having my daughter, and I was pregnant with her. And my mom had to get surgery for her fibroids and some other things, complications. And I remember my mother saying, well, I know you're going to need me when you have that baby, so I'm not going to get my surgery. And don't you know my mother waited to get her surgery until after I had her. She was 2 weeks old, and and that's a mother's love. And I appreciate you, Mom, for that. But ladies, you got to take care of yourself because just like on the airplane, they tell you to administer yourself first. You gotta go back. Okay, administer your oxygen first before you can help someone else. So tell the listeners how they can connect with you.
You can reach me on Facebook, Audrey Watson.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and of course, Kendell Lanice, you can reach me on Facebook, Living True, Living You, Life Coaching, Twitter, LT, she gotta go to the bathroom.
Yes.
LTLY.com.
Goodbye.
She's getting ready to leave. She gotta go to the bathroom, but LTLY.com. And also, you can catch me on YouTube at Kendell Lanice. Remember, guys, go to the doctor, get your checkups, do what you have to do, because you cannot help anybody if you are not here. So your health is very important and wellness is very important. So if you don't know a doctor, if you need a doctor, ask for referrals. So this has been Conversations with your girl, Kendell Lanice. And remember, you are a star, so don't let anyone dim your shine. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.